kernel, you get wheat berry, cracked wheat, the next one. And then you have burla wheat, and then wheat flour. The wheat is very healthy, has a lot of vitamins inside there. And it has a lot of vitamin B. If you eat wheat constantly, you will get better or have no cancer, no heart problem, and also like diabetics. All these things will help because your body is stronger. This is the first one I make breakfast. We eat that almost every day. It's to parboil the oats, and then you put raisins or you put apple or put cinnamon, anything that you want. And then the last part is to put in the cooked wheat, the wheat berry. And then you throw it in and then mix it. I did not put milk inside, but your wheat supposed to have agave. So it's a little bit sweet or very plain. I do not use sugar to put into my food most of the time. I use agave because I'm diabetic. I don't want to get very high sugar. So if you have that problem, you'll be okay tonight. Today I was a little bit late because I was using coconut oil to make the other batch of pancake. And then I go back to use my regular olive oil because the texture come out different. For doing that, you have to use 1 cup of water. I got this from the church. The church has a new type of powder milk that they say tastes better. Even the general authorities say that it tastes better. So if you look at the recipe, watch me now. If I do it wrong, you can remind me. Now this 1 tablespoon, 2, and 3. So you can use fresh milk. You don't have to use powdered milk. But this is a food storage recipe. So they use like 3 tablespoons of powdered milk, and then you use 1 cup of water. Now, the next thing you do is my cup is only half, so I had to do 2 times. Now, it will be very loud. You probably want to turn it off. Thank you. Otherwise, it's going to fly all over. Okay. I blend this for 4 minutes. So this is very noisy. I want to explain to you, you blend 4 minutes, don't blend too long, and then it will become like very fine. Then after that, you put, what's the next ingredient you put? You will put 2 eggs. That's okay. Yeah. If you have powdered eggs, you have dehydrated eggs, you can use that too. Then you will put baking powder, and then you have use 2 tablespoons oil, and then you can use honey or sugar, but I use agave. So then, but first of all, the mistake that I learned, don't repeat this here, that you have to blend this one first for 4 minutes, then you add the other things inside. If you are not careful, you blend everything together, the texture is not the same. It becomes more rough and thick and heavy. So don't repeat that. Now tonight, we make this one that you can try. We tried the other day. I guess I had more patience the other day. So it tastes good. So you can pass it around. You go outside? Oh, okay. One is going to be passing around is the tuna sandwich. It will be passing from the back. I don't have a recipe here for tuna sandwich, but how do you usually make tuna sandwich? You open a can of tuna, smash it up. What do you do? Mayonnaise. But before I put mayonnaise, I will put apples. I cut the apples into very small pieces. You can do walnut. I didn't do walnut tonight. And I put celery. You can put raisins or whatever you want to do. But I put apples and celery, cut it into small ones. And I add a little bit lemon juice because the apple will turn brown, yeah? You don't like to see that. So you put a little bit lemon juice. And then you put mayonnaise or you put your pepper or whatever spice you want. And then you mix them all together because sometimes mayonnaise is kind of thick. So what you can do is you can put yogurt to thin it out. That will be more healthy that way because the mayonnaise is really heavy. But you don't have to put a lot, you just put a little bit. And then if you have alfalfa or sprouts at home and you put in your sandwich, you get all the nutrition you need at a very low price. I make for my husband and I will make 2 sandwiches and then with all the sprouts and everything. I told him if you go out there to eat, at least cost you about $8 to $10. Comes with a smoothie. So you can eat a lot better at home by doing it yourself. It doesn't have to be very, hard to do that. The salad have make a little bit change, but you can follow the recipe. I cook the wheat berry first instead of doing this because I use wheat all the time. I always make a batch of wheat. This is beef wheat ball. What it is just use the wheat as filler. When you buy hamburger helper, you can use wheat. But what I did is that I use the blender to grind up the wheat dry now, no water inside. I blend the wheat. And then until they are smaller than the cracked wheat, then I will cook it on the stove. But this recipe tonight is using that, and then you make the herbs inside, then you make a ball. I did one thing more that is not in the recipe. The other night I tried to make sweet sour meatball. There's no meat inside, it's a wheat ball. But it falls apart. It tastes okay, it falls apart. So I'm trying today, I said, oh no, I don't want it to fall apart, But the other one I deep fry and it absorbs all the oil. I don't like too much oil. So tonight I try this one is that you put in after you grind the wheat and then you mix all the spice and everything. I put inside there, I use the pulse it up. Don't put the whole thing though, just put a little bit, so you do a little bit at a time. So half the hamburger and half of the wheat. Then blend it all together. Then they will be just like stick together really tight. Then I'm going to use the broth, heat it up, I put it inside the broth, and then it will come up about after 15 minutes. So then you can put sour cream, chives, and put on the noodles, and put on the rice, whatever how you decorate it. So that is, you can prepare ahead of time. You make the meatball today, then tomorrow you just parboil it and it's cooked. So that's all my dishes tonight.